and on cricket. Cricket South Africa this weekend met with 40 black former Proteas cricketers and senior coaches to respond to the much-publicised statement by former South African cricketers and senior coaches that was released on the 14th of July. That and ensuing revelations by the players about their personal experiences of racial discrimination in cricket, of which we also saw here on Morning Live with Nenzani. I spoke to President of the Federation, Chris Nenzani, yesterday, who led the discussion about the meeting, as well as the proposed way forward to tackle racism in cricket.
And cricket, we are but one part of that society, and we could not escape the legacy of apartheid, and we're dealing with the legacy of apartheid now. And we are willing and we are going to take action. We made a commitment to the players that this is not going to be a talk shop. There will be actions taken, and there will be a plan of dealing with the past to ensure that it does not again happen.
When you say that action is going to be taken, does that mean that people that perhaps had racist tendencies in the past will be asked no longer to play a part in the game in South Africa? Or what kind of action will be taken?
You need to be very systematic in the manner in which you address matters of this nature. You will have, for instance, a particular player might go to, there will be hearings by the Transformation Ombudsman. Players are going to state their experiences. They are going to recount their unfortunate stories within our system. And those who are named or mentioned in those hearings will be given an opportunity to respond to those accusations or those statements that might have been made against them. Based on that, the Office of the Ombudsman, which is going to be properly capacitated and resourced, will have to make investigations and then make findings and recommendations. Based on those recommendations, CSA will have to take action.
Sure. So the Transformation Ombuds is going to be appointed by the end of August. You've also got a restoration fund that's going to deal with opportunity cost due to discrimination, which is going to be formed. These are a couple of the resolutions that Cricket South Africa shared with the public. You're also going to have a belonging and inclusivity program. I have to ask, does Cricket South Africa have the money for all of this? Because this takes time, this takes resources, and it takes intellectual capacity, which is going to obviously cost something.
We may not have the money at this stage, but we have not yet quantified the cost as such. We are busy drafting the terms of reference. We are busy going through a process of saying what resources are we going to need and how do we then ensure that these resources, we can afford them. But the intention is to ensure that the issue may not necessarily be money. Restorative justice does not necessarily mean that you are going to pay somebody something, but there has to be a sense that the person has been restored, their dignity has been restored, and also that the system in itself currently is acting in a manner that it does not again go back to the unfortunate past. So the issue may not necessarily be money. You may have to make some compensation where necessary, but all of that is going to be part of this process and journey as well, going forward and unfolding. But the intention, therefore, is to ensure that there is action, there is a restorative action that is taken. Whether that will be monetary or otherwise is going to be determined by the outcomes of the process.
Was your director of cricket not invited then to the meeting on Sunday? This initial meeting that you had, it was purely just a case of Cricket South Africa presenting to the group of black former players and coaches?
The meeting on Sunday was basically for board members to talk to the players who had shared their experiences. And we had not invited people who did not actually share their experiences. And also, we felt that that meeting, we needed to be able to have a first-hand handle on the issue with the players themselves. There will be follow-up meetings. There will be those people who are required to be invited will be invited. We did not have a platform where it would be sort of an accusatorial kind of a scenario. We did not want that at this stage. That is going to come through a process that is going to be an independent one.
So back in 2016, Daryl Cullinan responded to criticism surrounding his comments that were made about transformation. And it was directly related to Makai Ntini when he was introduced into the test team and what he said to ESPN Cricinfo. Why? Because that should have made a mark even then. That should have caused Cricket South Africa to perhaps create a transformation onwards back in 2016. Why has it taken so long?
Valen, you're dealing here with a legacy of a system that was in place for centuries. Discrimination is not new in South Africa. And we had made interventions in order to address the issue of equitable representation in all our teams, in order to ensure that the teams that we select, they talk and represent the demographics of this country. And in so doing, people will move at different speed across the line, and people will hold different views. And our view has always been to say, in as much as you transform society, but you should not polarize society. That is also very, very important. And therefore, at certain point in time, for instance, by 2016, then Daryl Cullinan was no longer part of our system, as some of the possible culprits or perpetrators are no longer part of our system. And you do not want to address these things on a personality basis, on a one-on-one instance. But what has happened now has given credence to the fact that there's a body of players in a group which is very, very large, and we're inviting more. Surely there are more. We're not part of this group currently, to say, come and share your experiences. Therefore, you need to have now an organizational focus on this matter, because now it's no longer an issue of an individual expressing a particular view, when by then you could have said that, this person needs to be made to understand the imperative of transformation. Now it's a broader issue, therefore it requires a different approach.
President, when it comes to transformation in South Africa's biggest sport, Cricket South Africa has actually been a shining light. In the latest transformation barometer, the Federation got 80%, according to the Department of Sports and Recreation. And that is far above the average of other federations of 46% of what they managed to achieve in the transformation barometer. And I know the transformation barometer doesn't just look at Black players playing in a sport at a national level. It's got to do with development. It's got to do with women. It's got to do with coaches, with administrators. So it's a really holistic view of transformation of a specific sport. But surely those people that say there is a plot to get rid of white players or administrators in cricket would point to that, to say, cricket's done a really good job with transformation. What's going on now? What do you say to them?
I don't think when dealing with transformation is an emotive issue, because it's about change. And most of the time, people are not comfortable with change. I think I need to make this statement. I think it's fundamental. It needs to be made. Cricket South Africa does not stand for Black players, does not stand for Black people. It does not stand for white people, does not stand for white players. It stands for the people of this country, for all those who play cricket, for all those who support cricket, for all those who are fans of cricket. And that is our our standpoint, and it's very, very important, it includes everybody. Therefore, when Black players have concerns, we must address those concerns. When white players have concerns, we must address those concerns. In as much as we would want to create an organization that moves with perfect synchrony, but there are challenges in the system because we are part of a South African society that has been divided for many, many years. And therefore, we cannot escape the vestiges of that legacy. And there's at no point in time is there an intention to exclude anybody from our system, but we want to include as much as possible. But the point that we are saying that we have done well in terms of transformation, we don't consider ourselves to have reached the point where we want to be. We want it to be natural, Velin, for players to get equal opportunities without looking at any given point, whether this is black or white. It must just come natural that these are players. They must be considered on the basis that they have had equal opportunities to be considered, and they have been prepared well. They have access to similar facilities, that therefore they can compete at a national level on equal basis. If you achieve that, then we have to achieve transformation.
Tabang Morwe remains suspended. We were awaiting the report. What is the latest regarding his position and the report into his misconduct?
We have received that report, part one of the forensic report, which it was given to the board for the board to consider what action to take, and the board has considered that action and has taken a decision. Very soon there will be, in the next week or so, there will be an announcement as to how are we taking this forward. Unfortunately, Valian, we cannot go into details of this because it involves somebody else's rights, and we have to be responsible as the employer.
And it is a story we are following with SABC News for you, transformation in cricket. Let's conclude our sports.